For England, that moment meant everything.
Jeff Hurst, he scores! England are champions of the world! England have won the World Cup!
The trophy, the celebrations, the glory. But as the years passed, that moment became something else. A ghost, a memory, a standard that every generation tried to reach, but never quite touched. Because today's England story isn't about winning that 66 World Cup, it's about everything that came afterwards. The misses, the tears, the penalty shootouts, the golden generations, and at the end, the heartbreaks. That single victory became the starting point for a journey that is still unfolding today. Somehow, nearly 60 years later, England fans still enter every tournament believing that this is finally the year. Supporting England requires a special kind of optimism. One moment, you are imagining the trophy parade. The next, you are wondering how it all slipped away again. Yet every tournament begins the same way, with belief, because football occupies a unique place in English culture. After all, this is where the modern game was born. For many, football isn't simply a sport, it's part of the national identity, and that's what makes England different. Winning the World Cup once wasn't enough. That victory became the benchmark. Every generation that followed would be measured against it. Every squad would be asked the same question: can you bring it home again? Here's something people don't talk about enough. Who exactly were England supposed to be? A possession team? A counter-attacking team? The answer seemed to change with every generation. While other successful nations often build a clear identity, England spent decades searching for one. The teams of the 70s relied heavily on the physicality and determination. The side that reached the World Cup semi-finals in the 90s became famous for its resilience. Then came the generation that seemed destined to solve everything. David Beckham, Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Wayne Rooney. World-class players everywhere he looked. On paper, it appeared to be the perfect formula. And that's why what happened next remains so difficult for many supporters to understand. Because, despite all the talent, the breakthrough never came. Which brings us to the problem that would come to define modern England: penalties. By the way, if you are new here, this is exactly the kind of story we tell on this channel. Real football stories, not just a match reports. It's a subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if this video got you hooked up already, smash the like button. It actually helps a lot. Okay, let's keep going. At some point, England's relationship with penalties stopped feeling like a football story. It became something closer to a psychological thriller. Every time supporters convinced themselves the curse had finally been broken, it returned. Different players, different tournaments, but the same ending. The expectation of failure became almost as powerful as the pressure itself. The phrase "England penalty shootout" became a kind of national warning label, a sign that heartbreak might be only minutes away. What made it even more painful was a pattern that kept repeating itself. England would do enough to reach the decisive moment. They would survive difficult group stages, navigate tense knockout matches, fight through nerves and pressure, only to arrive at the shootout and fall apart again and again. The names changed, but the feeling never did. Yet the story was never really about penalties. It was about pressure. It was about the weight of expectation that follows every England player from the moment they pull on that shirt. Because representing England doesn't simply mean playing football. It means carrying decades of history. For many players, wearing the shirt doesn't feel like a reward. It feels like an examination, a test. And the players who carry that burden best often become symbols of the entire generation. No player embodied that more than Harry Kane. If one player represents modern England's journey, it is Harry Kane. Not simply because of the goals, not because of the records, but because of everything he came to represent. When Kane emerged, England were searching for more than a striker, they were searching for a leader, someone capable of delivering when the pressure was at the highest. At the 2018 World Cup, he won the Golden Boot. Goals arrived from everywhere: headers, penalties, clinical finishes. The kind of striker defenders hate facing and the managers dream of having. But Kane's greatest contribution wasn't measured in goals, because in many ways, his story mirrored England's own. Nothing came easily, there were doubts, questions about whether he was good enough, yet year after year he improved, until eventually those doubts disappeared. And that's why Kane became more than a goal scorer. He became a symbol of persistence, a symbol of England's belief that success could still be waiting around the next corner. Because it's the worst part, they didn't fail from distance, they got close. In 2018, a young England side arrived in Russia, carrying fewer expectations than previous generations. That turned out to be an advantage. With less pressure and a renewed sense of unity, Gareth Southgate's team began to build momentum. Round by round, confidence grew. through. Then came a moment nobody expected. Colombia, penalties. For the first time in what feels like forever, England had won one. The curse wasn't completely gone, but the fear surrounding it has started to crack. More importantly, something else had changed. England had rediscovered belief. The semi-final defeat to Croatia hurt, of course it did. Yet, when the disappointment faded, supporters realized something unusual. For the first time in years, they weren't talking only about what England had lost, they were talking about what England might become. Then came Euro 2020, a home tournament, Wembley full, a nation daring to dream again. Match after match, England moved closer. The belief became excitement, the excitement became anticipation, and eventually anticipation became history. England had reached another major final, for the first time in 55 years. An entire lifetime for some supporters, a dream for everyone else. And then, just as the finish line came into the view, the story delivered one final twist: penalties. Again, this time it was Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Bukayo Saka. Three players who will forever be remembered not only for that one night, but for having the courage to step forward in the first place. The next morning felt different. Not angry, not shocked, just empty. But England's story had never been defined solely by disappointment, because England always come back. Now they enter a new era. The squad is younger, the talent is extraordinary. Jude Bellingham, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Anthony Gordon, a new generation raised in an elite environment and used to the biggest stage. Will England win another World Cup? Nobody knows. Football has never promised fairy tale endings, but it does offer opportunities, and England continues to put themselves in position to take one. For nearly 60 years, every generation has chased that dream. One day, another generation may finally catch it, and if that day comes, the story that began in '66 will finally have its next chapter.